Did you know that one of the most absurd errors in SpongeBob happened when Plankton finally managed to steal the Krabby Patty? This happened in the episode The Algae is Always Greener, where Plankton manages to switch places with Mr. Krabs. He becomes the owner of the Krusty Krab and everything that belonged to Mr. Krabs, even becoming Pearl's father. And right there is where the mistake lies. When Plankton takes a photo with his new daughter, there are two errors. First, we don't see the typical P on Pearl's clothing. And second, her lips, or lipstick, are not drawn as we've always seen. Two mistakes in just one scene of the cartoon. And we have 12 more absurd errors to show you now. Spoons and fleas. In the episode, Under the Small Top, Squidward is having a problem with fleas at his house. So the fleas start moving things around the house, and he thinks it's ghosts. And we see in the kitchen, the fleas are moving some kitchen items, like these 4 utensils here, balancing plates. But when the scene opens up a bit and we see the whole kitchen, we notice there are only 3 utensils and 3 plates being balanced by the fleas. And when Squidward runs away in fear, we see that there are again 4 floating plates and utensils. Swap donuts. In the first season, we have one of the episodes that would be extremely memorable for the entire SpongeBob series. We're talking about episode number 6, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. In this episode, something extremely surreal happens. When SpongeBob and Patrick are playing and pretending to be the superhero duo, they grab donuts from a box. Note that Patrick picks up a donut that is kind of orange. But then, in the following scene, the donut that Patrick holds up in the solemn moment has chocolate frosting. And then it goes back to being the previous donut.
By the power of Neptune, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy unite!
No pain, no water. This mistake we're about to share is a logical error in the SpongeBob story. Follow this line of thought, and you'll understand what we mean. Everyone who lives in Bikini Bottom, except Sandy, are marine creatures, right? That's precisely why when SpongeBob visits Sandy's house, which is the only place with air and not water, he needs to wear a water helmet. The truth is, both Patrick and SpongeBob can breathe outside of water, as we saw in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. But even though they don't suffocate, just because they're not in a water environment, they start dehydrating and dying, as we saw in the movie and the episode, Sharing is Caring. That's why they use water helmets at Sandy's house. So in the episode Squirrel Record from Season 9, when SpongeBob appears to do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on Sandy, he takes off the helmet. But he doesn't suffocate, nor does he dehydrate, which can be considered an error, even though he wasn't exposed to a light like in the movie.
Sandy, I know just what you need.
Super powerful tail. Taking advantage of this super funny episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, we witness something that definitely defies the laws of nature as we know them. This happens when Sandy is trapped, and we can see that all her limbs are tied up, including her tail. Then SpongeBob gives her Plankton's garbage, and surprisingly, she manages to use her tail to remove the lock too. But as far as we know, there is no species of squirrels in the world that can have that much strength in their tail. Okay, she's a Texas squirrel, but even for her, that was too much. Out of ink. In the episode from the second season, No Free Rides, Mrs. Puff simply kind of loses it and wants SpongeBob to pass his driving test by any means just to get rid of our beloved SquarePants. And at a certain moment when they are in the classroom, we can see something very peculiar. On Mrs. Puff's desk, there's an image of a small pin holder, but if you look closely, it has a blue background, as if it hadn't been colored correctly.
The rest doesn't matter. You pass. You pass.
Mrs. Puff, I don't feel like I really did anything.
It seems like Nickelodeon ran out of ink that day. If they had asked Squidward, maybe they wouldn't have run out. If you've laughed at least once while watching SpongeBob, do the following. Comment down below, #Sponge, to let us know that this show makes you happier too. The Flash of the Deep Seas? In the episode The Krusty Slammer from the 12th season, we notice a mistake straight out of The Flash. In this episode, Mr. Krabs turns his own restaurant into a prison, and it becomes filled with inmates. However, the prisoners start living a rather comfortable life. We then notice that one of these prisoners is right in front of Mr. Krabs at the bottom of the Krusty Krab. But as soon as the scene goes back to Mr. Krabs, we see that the same prisoner is now locked up on the upper floor, right behind the Krusty Krab owner. To achieve this, either he's the Flash of the Deep Seas, or he has a twin brother. No path. In the episode Sailor Mouth of SpongeBob SquarePants, where Patrick and SpongeBob learn some words that should never be said, we encounter a logic error that also becomes an animation oversight. At the end of the episode, when Mr. Krabs accidentally bumps into a rock and hurts his paw, everyone is in front of the Krusty Krab. And what's in front of the Krusty Krab? Exactly what you thought, a pathway leading to the trash bin. But if we look closely, right behind Patrick and SpongeBob, where the pathway should be, there's nothing there. They forgot about this detail once again. Do the animators love doing, or rather not doing, this? Now I'm in doubt.
What's gonna happen to us?
We'll probably get 40 lashes.
Oh no!
Magic Popsicle. In the episode from the 3rd season, SpongeBob on Duty, we see SpongeBob becoming a lifeguard even though he doesn't know how to swim. Seriously, this show is a complete trip. In one scene of the episode, everyone is eating ice cream. Larry is seen with a red popsicle, probably strawberry flavored. But when we see him again, his popsicle magically turns blue. Now my question is, did only the color change, or did the flavor change too? No signs allowed. In the episode Atlantis SquarePants, we see Mr. Krabs pretending to be a museum employee and charging an entrance fee on a day that should have been free for an elderly lady. At that moment, we can clearly see a sign at the museum entrance stating that there would be no admission fee on that day. But in the following scene, when SpongeBob and Patrick enter the museum, the sign has simply disappeared. Did the old lady notice she was being tricked and took the sign as compensation? The other half of SpongeBob. In the 13th season, we have an episode called Dirty Bubble Returns, where we see a new Bubble buddy working at the Krusty Krab, washing the dishes in the restaurant. And at a certain moment, Mr. Krabs is reprimanding the Bubble buddy, and SpongeBob is there, hiding in the corner, listening to everything. And this conversation happens right in the dirtiest place of the restaurant, the bathroom. The part where SpongeBob is hidden is the bathroom partition. The thing is, it's suspended. So where's the lower half of SpongeBob? Did it go for a walk? That would be bizarre, even by SquarePants standards. No Way Out. In the 12th season episode titled Shell Games, Patrick discovers that the rock he lives under was never actually a rock, but rather a turtle that took a very, very long nap. Who would have thought? Right there in Bikini Bottom. And when Patrick and the turtle are used by some kids for games, they end up being thrown away and landing at the Krusty Krab. Once again, we see the most beloved mistake by the Nickelodeon folks. No path to the Chum Bucket's trash can. Really, it seems that as long as there's SpongeBob, there will be episodes with the path to the trash can, and episodes without it. Sometimes, I think they decide it by flipping a coin. Those were the 12 mistakes we brought to you today. Comment down below if you notice any mistake you'd like to see in the next videos. We really want your participation. And don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Bye-bye.